Anyone need more time on this example? All right, we're not doing that one. We're going to do this one. So write that one down. So extraneous solutions, you're going to have two answers. And when you get two answers, the options are both of those answers work, one answer works, or neither works. So in the next section, I think we do a problem that we do like 2 full pages of work on here, and neither answer works. And then you're all bummed, and I laugh. Because that's how I am. Okay, what's the first step on this problem? Divide 3. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. Now, after I divide by 3, I'm going to rewrite the left side radically. Okay, so the 3 goes in the elbow. And then x plus 1, I'm going to leave out the squared part for now, because I want you to kind of think about it. So the two options of it would be to square like that. Now if I square it like this, I'm going to have x squared plus 2x plus 1 underneath the square root. And I don't want that under the square root. So instead of doing that, I look at the 4 here, and I can square root 4. So I'm going to put this entire thing in parentheses and put the square on the outside. Because then I can get rid of that square by square rooting both sides, and 4 square roots evenly to 2. So that's why I'm choosing to do that problem method. So that's the hard part for you guys, determining how you should do the problem. But if you end up with x plus 1 squared and you have to FOIL that out, that's probably not the easiest way. So what do we have left on this left side? Just cube root of x plus 1 equals plus or minus 2. And then we have to write 2 equations because we have that plus or minus 2. So we're going to write one equation like cube root of x plus 1 equals positive 2. And cube root of x plus 1 equals negative 2. So the bonus or bummer, depending how you look at it, of this kind of problem when you have these two solutions we're going to get is you have to plug them back into the original and check to see if the equations work or the answers work or not. So how do I get rid of this cube root? Cube it. That's what you meant to say. Yeah. So cube both sides. So on this left equation, we end up with x plus 1 equals 8. On the right equation, we end up with x plus 1 equals negative 8. Yeah, we're going to subtract the 1. I'm just trying to go slow. I always go too fast in this class. So on this left equation, we end up with x equals 7. On the right equation, we end up with x equals negative 9. Now we got to check. So I'm going to copy. I'm actually going to do the cube root of x plus 1 equals 4 and plug it into that step. Because then I have to divide by 3 and I don't want to. Just divide by 3 already. And you're probably not going to screw up 12 divided by 3, so it's safe to plug it into that step. Just makes it easier to plug in. Because the plug-in's a pain in the neck. So cube root of x plus 1 squared equals 4. So I'm going to plug that in. So cube root it was negative 7. What was it? Positive 7. Thank you. Yeah. Hey, show your pile back there. Write that down. So 7 plus 1 is 8. What's the cube root of 8? Cube root of 8 is 2. You should start to know those by now. So cube root of 8 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So that first one works. You can just indicate that by putting a check or circling it, whatever you want to do. Just make sure I can tell you know what's going on. On this equation on the right, we end up with the cube root of negative 8 squared. So the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. And negative 2 squared is positive 4. So in this problem, both of the answers work. So for those of you that continue to forget these parentheses around negative numbers, enjoy missing more points on this problem. Like I have now told you probably no less than 100 times to put parentheses around negative numbers. So if you continue to forget that, I will increasingly aggressively take points off because it makes me angry. Okay? That's why. I will hammer you.
Wait,
So don't forget the parentheses around the negative. Yeah.
Is that the answer, or is that?
This is, well, I mean, technically it's just 4 equals 4. So then you know it works. So we're plugging in the answers we got to determine if they work in the equation or not.
So we're just seeing if it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay? All right, that's that one. We're not doing that one. Or that one. This one next. So write that formula down. Idiot, quiet. So for meteor crater in Arizona, the formula D equals 2 times the cube root of D over 0.3 relates the diameter D of the ring in meters to the volume V in cubic meters. What is the volume of meteor crater? So 1.2 kilometers is not in meters. How do I change that to meters? What do I have to do? Yeah. Times 1,000. So 1.2 times 1,000 equals 1,200. So I'm going to solve this for V first because I want to know the volume before I plug the number in. If you want to plug the number in first, go for it. I'm just going to solve for V first. I think they're kind of similarly challenging, so it doesn't really matter which way you do it. But I'm going to solve for the V by dividing by 2 first. So I get D over 2 equals cube root of V over 0.3. Then to get rid of the cube root, I have to cube both sides. So we get D over 2 cubed equals V over 0.3. How do I get that V by itself? Multiply. So we're going to multiply by 0.3 on both sides. So we get V equals 0.3 times D over 2 cubed. And then you can plug that 1,200 in for the D. So V equals 0.3 times 1,200 divided by 2 cubed. And since I've already done that twice and I have a weird memory for numbers, here's what you get. Are you ready, Finley?
I'm ready.
You can multiply that in your head?
I've been like...
V equals 64,800,000. And if that's not messed up, I remember that. That's messed up.
There's other things I call it.
Yes.
Medium on your jacket, I'll put the order.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Did you hear what Mainland just said?
Steve rock you to...
Yeah, exactly. We need the cattle prod. Okay, 64,800,000, what are my units? Meters. Cubed. Volume is cubed, right? I think of volume having 3 dimensions, height, length, height, and width. That's why it's cubed. So meters cubed. Good team. That was good. I mean, come up with some good ones every once in a while. Oh yeah? It was too inappropriate. Okay. So we've got 2 more examples. Okay, last one's a doozy. So this one's kind of easy in comparison, and you probably won't find it that easy. First thing we're going to do, add 5 to both sides. Side conversation. Guys, be quiet, please. Ethan, quiet, please. So we have square root of x plus 7 equals x plus 5. Looks like it should be pretty easy, right? Not so much. So we're going to square both sides. Do not, so there's several math teachers in this department that say if you distribute the 2, you kill a puppy. Anyone seen that in people's rooms? Bob? Leader has it too? Cheryl has it, I know. I think Beamer has it as well. I will never have that in my room. Just don't distribute the 2, right? Yeah. There are no like terms? You're saying like do 7 minus 5? Because the 7's underneath the radical, that's why you can't combine it. Okay?
So if the 5 is underneath that thing?
It's like a shield, yeah. Yeah. It's a roof, you can't get in there. Okay? So x plus 5 squared means x plus 5 times x plus 5, which is?
X plus x. So x squared minus 10x plus 25.
X squared plus 10x. Right, it's not minus here. Plus 25. So if you need, like if you can't do that in your head, some cannot. I'm going to show you here. You can do the old box, but you can't do that in your head. So that's where the x squared plus 10x plus 25 came into play. On the left side, we're just left with x plus 7. So as soon as you see that x squared, you know you have how many solutions? 2 solutions, right? So what we're going to do is get everything over to the right side of the equal sign and factor it. At this point, you're praying you don't have to do quadratic formula because, yes, that'll happen too. And then you get to check for extraneous solutions on top of that, and you're extra happy. And then you can do all of that, and neither solution works, and then you're extra, extra happy. So subtract x and 7 from both sides. So we get 0 equals x squared plus 9x plus 18. And what multiplies to 18 adds to 9?
2.
Nope.
No, wait.
6 and 3. 6 and 3. What was that about that?
Me trying to guess all of those.
Yeah, here. 5x and 5x.
Wait, if you scroll up a little bit.
You can't distribute that too. That's what you're going to do. Do not do that. You massively get it incorrect, and it will take every point off I possibly
I
can.
got everything right
Except for the, yes, exactly, right? How's it all going? So when we set each of these parentheses equal to 0, you get x equals what? Hopefully you can do that in your head by now. -3 and -6, thank you, Ashton. -3 and -6. And then you're lucky enough to plug both those in and see if they work. So x plus 7, I'm going to copy this to a new page. So we get square roots of -3 plus 7 minus 5. We're going to see if that equals -3. And the square root of -6 plus 7 minus 5. And see if that equals -6. Beautiful. 7 minus 3. Looks like your brain is small. 7 minus 3 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 minus 5? -3. -3 equals -3. Check. That works. Okay, so here we get square root of 1 minus 5. What's the square root of 1? 1.
1.
Square root of -1 is I. Square root of 1 is 1. Minus 5 is not -6. -4 does not equal -6. You can do it like that if it doesn't equal, or you can put an X or it, I don't really care. So the -3 works and the -6 does not. All right, ready for the joyous, beautiful last problem? You're looking like you have 20 minutes of work time if Andre can shut his Bible. You're one to talk. Oh. All right, write that one down, please. First step, anyone? Yep. Go for it. They're different. Because of the +1 in here, that's why I can't do that. And if you wanted to subtract those two, you'd have to have numbers in front. Like square root of x minus square root of x goes away, yes. But it has to be the same thing under the square root to be able to do anything like that. Okay? So we add square root of x to both sides. What we get is square root of 2x plus 1 equals square root of x plus 1. So you know it's going to be a challenging problem when you have square roots on both sides. You're also writing next to this problem that this for sure is going to be on both your quiz and test, because it will be. Okay? So to get rid of a square root, we square both sides. And on this right side of the equal sign, we're going to do the box. It just bugs confusing.
Well, like, could you write the numbers and then I it's just
Does that confuse you? It's not a bit, right? You can get through that. Give me a little head. Square root of x times square root of x is what? X. 1 times the square root of x is 1 square root of x. But it just helps because then you see that it's 2 square root of x. That's why. And then 1 times 1 is 1. One times 1? Because we're multiplying, not adding. That's all. It's okay to ask. I won't mock you too much for that. Okay, so on the left side, we get 2x plus 1. I did. That's okay. I got it. Now you get it. Jesus, I've come up with that. Yeah.
We get on that stuff.
Because of this square root, that square makes this square root go away. Whereas because this plus 1 is not under the square root, that's why I have to do square root of x plus 1 times square root of x plus 1. Okay. So it looks a little bit like a nightmare, but it simplifies pretty nice. So if we subtract x and 1 from both sides, then we end up with x equals 2 square root of x. At this point, you could divide by 2, but it's easier if you just square both sides. So it'll still work out if you don't do that, but it's easier if you just do this. So we have x squared equals 4x. And then we have to factor this thing, so we got to subtract 4x over. And we get x squared minus 4x equals 0. What does that x squared minus 4x factor to? It has the greatest common factor. X parenthesis what? Right, my GCF here is x. When I divide that x out, that goes in front of the parentheses. And then what I have left is just x minus 4. Again, we had x squared right here. So you know you're going to have two answers. The two answers are x equals 0. And then you also set x minus 4 equal to 0. Add the 4 to both sides. X equals 4. Okay? So our check, we had 2x plus 1. Okay, so we're going to plug in 0, and then we're going to plug in 4. So square roots of 2 times 0 plus 1 minus square root of 0. Write that down. So 2 times 0 is 0, square root of 1 is 1. So here we have 1 minus 0. And indeed, 1 does equal 1. And then we're going to plug in the 4. So square root of 2 times 4, please be quiet, plus 1 minus square root of 4 equals 1. Ethan, what do I get under the radical?
For that one, you get
Yep.
8, so you get 9.
9, so square root of 9 minus square root of 4.
Yeah.
Square root of 9 is 3, square root of 4 is 2. And again, 1 equals 1, so that one works also. Okay. So that is it. Your homework is page 395, 9 through 43, odd. So get on it, because when you get to these problems, it takes a while, right? 9 through 43 odd.